Level 1. The skinny kid at the neighborhood gym. At 15, you walk into a cramped gym for the first time, tucked away above an auto parts store. The smell of stale sweat, cheap rubbing alcohol, and damp canvas hits your face before the workout even starts. You're wearing plain soccer shorts, a faded t-shirt, and a borrowed glove way too big for your hands. In the corner, a torn heavy bag swings, making a dry sound against the rusty chain. You try to copy the moves you've seen fighters do online, throw punches too hard, lose your balance, hold your breath, and gas out in under 3 minutes. Some of the more experienced guys quietly laugh when you stumble trying to throw a high kick. Even so, when you get home with sore arms and a nose stinging from the first jab you ever took, there's a strange feeling of pride. This is where you realize something. Getting hit in front of others hurts less than staying weak alone. Level 2. The student who keeps coming back. At 17, the gym already feels less intimidating. You learn to wrap your own hands, recognize the sound of the jump rope hitting the floor during training, and start to understand that endurance matters more than raw strength. Your cheap sneakers slip on the worn-out floor during sparring, but now you don't close your eyes anymore when someone comes at you. The coach shouts short corrections while holding the old mitts covered in duct tape. You start waking up early to run on empty streets before school. It rains, it's cold, your legs burn, but for the first time you feel real progress. A new kid walks into the gym and looks at you the same way you used to look at the veterans months ago. That changes the way you see everything. What nobody tells you at the start is that discipline is almost always born before confidence. Level 3. The amateur fighter. At 19, your first fight comes at a small neighborhood arena. Bright lights pointed at a makeshift cage, the smell of energy drinks mixed with barbecue smoke drifting in from the street, people shouting bets from the plastic bleachers. You warm up in a narrow hallway wearing an old hoodie, feeling your hands go cold inside the gloves. Your opponent looks bigger, stronger, and a lot calmer. When the cage door shuts, the crowd noise disappears for a few seconds. You forget half the game plan, burn too much energy trying to knock him out fast, and nearly lose in the first round. But something shifts when you stop fighting the fear and start breathing right. The fight goes to a decision. Your arm gets raised, barely. The payout only covers the bus fare and a pizza afterward. Still, that night, looking at the purple bruise in the bathroom mirror, you understand for the first time that you can survive under pressure. Level 4. The technical obsessive. At 21, training stops feeling like fun. Now it's a real routine. You start studying wrestling, takedown defense, timing, distance, and conditioning. You buy knee pads, a better mouthguard, and save up for months to afford seminars with well-known fighters. This is where the gap between looking good and being good starts to show. Some guys at the gym post videos of themselves training hard, then disappear after a few months. You're still there on quiet Tuesday mornings, repeating the same movement hundreds of times until your body does it on its own. For the first time, you understand that technique doesn't come from motivation. It comes from exhausting repetition nobody ever sees. Your body starts to change. Broader shoulders, small scars over your eyebrow, fingers sore from gripping the GI and the cage fence. But along with the progress comes something heavier, injuries. Your knee makes a strange popping sound during a session. You feel real fear of losing everything before it even truly begins. Level 5. The regional name. At 24, you're already fighting bigger events in other cities. You travel overnight by bus, sleeping crooked between backpacks and bags of cheap supplements. Some people start asking for photos after fights. Small sponsors show up offering help with shirts, supplements, and travel. You start getting messages from teenagers asking how to get into the sport. And if you've made it this far, it's because you already understand the next levels aren't about luck. They're about continuing when your body begs you to stop. Your coach now demands attention to details that used to feel invisible. Emotional control, strategy, energy management. You lose an important fight over a dumb mistake, overconfidence. You dominated the first rounds, started taunting your opponent, and ended up getting submitted. The silence on the ride home weighs more than any punch. This is where you learn that ego can destroy years of progress in a matter of seconds. Level 6. The real professional. At 27, you join a bigger team. New gym, better structure, a professional ring, a physiotherapist, a nutritionist, and training sessions with international athletes. For the first time, the sport starts to feel like an actual career. But it also gets a lot more brutal. Now everyone is disciplined. Everyone trains hard. What separates the best isn't willpower anymore. It's intelligence. You learn to watch fights differently. You study patterns, breathing rhythm, emotional reactions, footwork. For the first time, you understand that fighting is solving problems under extreme violence. Your manager starts talking about bigger contracts, but also warns you about dangerous weight cuts, psychological pressure, and bad decisions that end careers. You watch a talented fighter get erased by a string of losses and vanish completely from the scene. Hold on to that, because it explains why so few make it to the end. Level 7, the familiar face. At 30, your name starts showing up on sports podcasts, fight pages, and bigger events. You walk into arenas lit by giant spotlights, hearing thousands of people scream. The money gets better. You're able to help your family, trade in the old car, buy better gear, and finally sleep without stressing over late rent. But along with the fame comes new pressure. Now there are expectations. A loss doesn't just affect you anymore. It affects your team, your sponsors, your contracts, and your future opportunities. What nobody sees is the silence of the hotel room hours before the fight. You, sitting alone, listening to the old air conditioner rattle while you run through every possible scenario. The difference between a champion and a former prospect sometimes comes down to a single mistake that lasts seconds. Level 8, the world elite. At 33, you're fighting among the best on the planet. International gyms, closed training camps, nutritionists controlling every meal, tests, interviews, long trips, cameras following your routine. The cage feels smaller now because everyone in there knows exactly what they're doing. Your strikes get more economical. Your movement's colder. You start noticing small signs of nerves in your opponent before the fight even begins. But you also feel the accumulated weight of years of impact on your body. Worn out knees, shoulders locking up, rough nights sleeping after the wars inside the cage. The top finally arrives, but it doesn't feel like constant glamour. It feels like responsibility. It feels like total control over your own emotions while the whole world expects you to keep winning. Level 9. The legendary veteran. At 40, you go back to that small gym where it all started. The heavy bag is still old. The smell of the canvas is still the same. A skinny kid wearing oversized gloves is trying to land clumsy combinations in front of the mirror, glancing at you now and then. Exactly the way you used to do decades ago. Your hands carry permanent scars. Your body still holds pain that never fully went away. But now you understand something you didn't understand at the start. None of the levels were ever really about violence. They were about control. About learning to keep functioning even when you're tired, scared, under pressure, or alone. You watch the kid miss simple punches and smile after landing a clean straight shot on the bag. And in that instant, the whole journey connects. Every loss, every cut, every early morning run in the rain, every fight lost, and every quiet victory built that moment. Because somewhere out there, there's always someone starting from the exact point where you almost gave up.